topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from top local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to experts in family law, association law, hearing loss, business brokers, home care, along with many other topics. Now here are your hosts, Steve-O and Sophia.
Hey, good afternoon, Arizona. Welcome to another Ask the Expert show where for the last 17 years, we bring you the top experts in their field in the areas of health, legal, financial, and home improvement. We want to welcome our TikTok new audience. I have been trying to get this show on for the last 2 years. I am so happy about having a show, and I'm already seeing people write in questions already asking about neuropathy. We're doing a show today on neuropathy, and I've been doing the show now with Dr. Patrick Sars for about a year now, and I got to tell you, I have learned so much. One of the things I've learned a lot is it's painful. People lose their balance, and there's numbness. But if you want to sit back and listen today, we might be able to help you out. Let me welcome our great expert, Dr. Patrick Sars. Good afternoon, Dr. Sars.
Good afternoon, Steve.
Hey, I got to tell you, I have learned so much from you about neuropathy, so much to know that I want to get as many people out there educated about neuropathy because first of all, I'm seeing these questions come in on TikTok. A lot of people don't even know what neuropathy is.
Well, neuropathy basically is a secondary disease. And what I mean by that is that there is something else going on in an individual's body that's causing the loss of sensory nerve function. Diabetes is the number one cause. Chemotherapy can cause it. But according to the Mayo Clinic in Scottsdale, there's over 200 known causes. And because of that, that's what makes it so difficult. And that's the reason that there is not a cure, is because to actually cure the neuropathy, we'd actually have to cure the original cause, the diabetes, the chemotherapy, have that not even have occurred. And those things just basically, they're not going to happen. So what we're concentrating on is how to actually get the neuropathy under control. Neuropathy basically is a disease process of the sensory nerves that causes the cells at the ends of the nerves to actually die off. They go deeper into the tissue and then they fire on their own. Very similar to possibly what an amputee might experience with phantom pains in the limbs they no longer have. And so it can cause numbness, tingling, burning, and also loss of balance because of the fact those sensory nerves aren't down at the sole of the foot anymore. They're deeper in. So people might feel like they're walking on a sponge or a piece of cardboard. And this can cause people to lose their balance, cause falls, which can be, as we get older, quite serious. And neuropathy is actually something that for years, all they did was take medications to mask the symptoms. That's no longer there's more that can be done now. We can actually get the neuropathy under control in most cases so that you have normal function. The problem with it is that it's an ongoing treatment because, again, that initial cause is still there. So realizing that the only way to treat neuropathy is to actually do it continuously, maybe not as high as we need to when we're in the healing stage, but there is always going to be a need to continue the treatments throughout so that you can maintain that relative improvement that we've experienced with the neuropathy.
Dr. Sars, is there a specific demographic? Is it skewed more male or female or age group?
Actually, age group, more 55 and older, though I would have told you when I started this 18 years ago that everyone was in their late 60s to 70s and older. Now we're down to 55, and I've actually had some patients that have come in that are been in their 30s. It's rare, but it's something that I'm starting to see. So there seems to be more and more things that are causing neuropathy. Some of them are unidentified. 35% of people that will be diagnosed with neuropathy will be diagnosed with idiopathic neuropathy, and that is basically we don't know why you have it, we just know you do. And this is what makes it so difficult to treat, and why we need to basically concentrate on treating the neuropathy itself, because that underlying cause, if we can't identify it, there's no way that we can correct it.
You know, I know we've talked about this many times before, but with this whole new audience now we have, tell people how you got started with neuropathy. I know your mother had neuropathy.
That's basically what led me to this, is that, as I said, there's multiple different causes for it. We believe my mother's was from DDT, which was a herbicide pesticide that we used back in the 60s and 70s, and didn't necessarily take the precautions with it. I'm originally from Eastern Montana, that I grew up on a farm and ranch. My mom got drenched with DDT one day when I was about 12 years old. Numbness started in her feet a few weeks after that and just progressed throughout the years. That my mom spent the last 16 years of her life fully confined to a wheelchair and in a great deal of pain. And that's what got me interested in this. Unfortunately, I never found anything to help her before she passed, but found some things in 2006 that showed promise. We started treating patients in the office in 2008, and I've learned a lot in the last 18 years. And so this is where my interest is that we can now prevent people from going through what my mother did, and do it with a really high degree of certainty that literally 98% of the patients that I accept for care have reported between a 65 to 100% improvement in their neuropathy and their balance.
You know what? There's people who are writing now about diet. Is diet included in your program? Do you have to be on a certain diet?
Recommendations are given. That the thing that you have to understand is that once we've got neuropathy is caused 90% of all the cases, or something that's actually interfering with the ability to get oxygen to the nerve endings. And so diet can be important in the fact that if we eat too many high carbohydrates or we drink too much alcohol, it'll actually interfere with the red blood cell's ability to release oxygen to the tissues, whether or not you're diabetic or not. And that can cause irritation to the nerve endings. And particularly when we're in the healing stage, we want to minimize the irritation that we can possibly do so that we can get these nerves under control. Now, this is something that will become less of a problem as we move through the therapy and get more of the nerves functioning correctly. But initially, yes, the recommendations on what they do can, as far as food intake, can help with the process of what we're trying to do.
Here's another from TikTok. My mother fell in the shower. She's 68 years old. Do you think she might have neuropathy?
It's a possibility, but at the same time, she could have just slipped. Showers are slippery. So without knowing what her history is in that aspect, I can't definitely say that that's because of the fact of neuropathy. The thing that happens in showers and why people may slip and fall is due to the fact that as their balance becomes more compromised, we become more dependent on their depth perception. And so if you close your eyes to wash your hair and you do have neuropathy, you're not getting the feedback back from your feet. So you need to reach out and basically touch something. Now, it can be just as simple as actually touching the wall with your elbow will give you the stability that you need. You don't need to necessarily have a grab bar, though that if you do have neuropathy, I would recommend getting grab bars in your shower. But it is just getting that sense of stability that from the nerves to balance yourself. So it's a possibility that that's what caused it, but there's no way to definitely tell without actually doing an evaluation to see whether or not she has the disease.
Here's another one. My father put his foot on the gas pedal instead of the brake. We think it was because he has numbness in his feet. Does that mean he could have neuropathy?
Chances are 99.2% or higher, he has neuropathy.
Wow.
My mom told the story basically that she went out, she was going to go uptown one day, went to start the car and the engine raced, and she would have sworn her foot was on the brake. The neuropathy will actually affect our proprioception and awareness of where our feet are actually at. And so because of that, when you see news stories on television where somebody drove into a building, what's the first thing that they say? I swear my foot was on the brake. The problem is that they've lost that proprioception and they're not quite sure where their foot was at. Initial things that you might realize that you're starting to have a problem is that when you accelerate, you're accelerating jerky because you're speeding up faster than you really want to. So you slow up, go back, or you may brake faster than you were expecting. And it's just due to the fact that you start to lose how much pressure to put on a pedal to accomplish what you were trying to do, speed up or slow down.
So we are getting so many questions. I'm taking them today because these are all new people. They've never seen your show before. Here's a great question. What happens if you don't treat neuropathy?
It gets worse. Severe cases, you're going to end up like my mother, where you're going to end up basically in a wheelchair. If it's due to the fact of uncontrolled diabetes, that can actually lead to amputations. And so it is something to truly deal with. It will affect your life. And it'll affect the life of the people around you also, because it's not just going to be you, it's going to be the people that you start to become dependent upon. And that I can guarantee you that my parents did not have the retirement that they initially had planned when they were in their 40s.
Here's another TikTok. I am going to contact my mother. I think she needs to come in and see you. Why do doctors not understand about neuropathy?
Primarily due to the fact that they don't have a whole lot that they can offer to do for it. The primary thing that they will do is prescribe medications. That my typical patient will possibly go to their primary doctor, say that they're having some pain and numbness. They'll get prescribed gabapentin. Chances are it's not going to work. So they think, well, geez, I'll go to a neurologist. They'll go to the neurologist. They'll do an EMG, nerve conduction study. The neurologist determine you've got neuropathy and prescribe them gabapentin. They get discouraged. And because we're here in the Phoenix area, we have Mayo Clinic and we have Barrows Neurological, two of the leading neurological clinics in the world. And they think, well, geez, I'll make an appointment and go there. So they'll go and they'll meet with maybe 2-3 neurologists. They'll determine they need to have another EMG. They'll have the EMG done, and then you'll meet with your primary neurologist and they'll go, you've got neuropathy. Here's a prescription for gabapentin. And the thing is that there's been
seeing people, Dr. Sars, I'm seeing people on there said that was the medication prescribed to me, and several of them are saying it doesn't work.
Well, the reason that it doesn't work is due to the fact that the reason that it got accepted in the first place is that, and you can look this up, Pfizer actually created fictitiously all the research that backs it up treating for neuropathy. And the reason that I can say that is that they actually paid a $430 million fine to the federal government and pleaded to felonies for fabricating the research that back in 2004.
Unbelievable. So let's walk people, because you can actually treat people at home. Let's walk someone who comes to your office. They don't know if they have neuropathy or not. What is the first thing you do to test them?
Basically, the initial thing that we do is there's a scoring system called the Toronto Clinical Scoring System for Peripheral Neuropathy. Basically, it's a sensory exam where we test for 7 different sensations in the lower leg and the feet, comparing to a spot on the face. When everything is normal, you've got the same nerve endings up in your forehead that you do in your big toe. You should feel all these sensations the same way. There may be some slightly direct decrease with it as we get older, but still should feel it within 85 to 90% of what you're feeling there. If we start to have losses where, like today, I had a couple of patients that had zero sensation in their big toe for 3 of the 7 sensations. That's a very good indication you do have neuropathy because you've lost those sensory nerves, and that is not uncommon. The thing is and then we have a program that we will lay out. Program varies. Each one is individually tailored depending on the symptoms and the severity of the neuropathy. But what people have to understand is this treatment is done at home because of the fact that this is not going to cure it. There is no cure for neuropathy at this time. It is a treatment, and it is ongoing treatment. And so we have our patients doing it at home so that they can get it under control and then continue to treat it as needed so that they can maintain these results. My involvement, we still have office visits. Some of those are done over the phone because we're in the Phoenix area, so we get a lot of snowbirds. So I have a lot of patients now that are in Canada and in the northern part of the United States. So we do this over the phone, but through this. But I'm available also 7 days a week from 7 o'clock in the morning to 8 o'clock at night by phone. If you call my office, somebody's going to answer that phone, with the exception if I'm in the shower or church.
We're going to be giving out your phone number and your website. So once you had found out they are suffering through neuropathy, how does the treatment work?
The treatment basically is very simple. We actually use a form of infrared light. And I know a lot of people will go, geez, I tried that. I bought one off the internet, or I went to this office and they did that. And yeah, it sort of worked, but not all that much. But the problem is that infrared is an invisible form of light that produces heat. People with neuropathy, one of the first sensations that you're going to lose is the ability to feel warmth. And so there was a ceiling as far as how much energy these units could produce, because infrared actually is a heat-producing form of light. And so we had to limit how much energy these units could produce without risking inadvertently burning somebody without them knowing it. That limited some of the effectiveness of this. A new unit came out on the market a few years ago that I'm using now, increased the energy output by almost 3.5 times, with only increasing the heat output about 0.5 degree above your normal skin temperature. So it eliminates the risk that there's going to be any burns. Maybe the best way I can look at it or think about this is water boils at 112 degrees. Now, if you heat it up to 200, it's not going to boil. And you can keep it at 200 for a long time and it's still not going to boil. It has to get up to 212. And that's the problem with some of these units. They just couldn't get enough energy to actually facilitate any actual change in the nerve. Research shows, or know that research is mixed, but the research that's out there, the ones that say that it doesn't work, what they're actually judging is whether or not you could feel a small filament better after a 12-week period of time, or whether the EMG, the nerve conduction study, showed an improvement. The ones that show that it works, they ask the patient, how's your pain levels? Have they decreased? And overwhelmingly, when they actually ask how the patient's feeling, infrared works extremely well. And I think most people will take the fact that I feel better versus the fact my EMG looks better.
Well, I got to tell you, so people are asking now, what is your success rate?
Here's what I based it on. I say I have a 98% success rate. And the reason that I say that is due to the fact that I actually have a buyback program where if you're not getting better in 6 months, I actually buy back the equipment that I have sold you. Now, granted, I do keep some of the money because I have to get the equipment recertified and there are supplements and things involved. And so I'm not out to lose money, but I'm not out to make any during this. So it covers my costs. But
That's
what
amazing.
I can tell you is less than 2% in the 18 months that we've been doing this have actually requested any money back. So I'm assuming when we're looking at the fact that that we're looking at a couple to $2,000 to $3,000 that somebody could get back. And if they're not asking for it, we're doing pretty good. And due to the fact that I am in contact with these patients regularly for at least a year to a year and a half, I know that they are improving. And so 98% of my patients have actually shown improvement. Part of that's due to the fact that I do know over 18 years who I can and who I can't help. And so I'm not going to take you as a patient if we're not going to help you. That's just giving false hope. And I can guarantee you that my mom had a lot of that, and I'm not going to do that to somebody else.
Is there after a certain amount of time, Dr. Sars, is there a maintenance program? Do you stay on this for the rest of your life?
You stay on it for the rest of your life. That we have our patients treating themselves 1 to 2 times a day, 5 to 7 days a week during the initial healing stage. And then we basically, when it's time for me to step back, is when we determine how often you need to continue to treat yourself. Most of my patients will continue to treat themselves 1 or 2 times a week to maintain it so that it does not come back. A lot of my patients continue with the same treatment schedule, which because it's basically, most of these cases take 8 to 15 months to get it completely under control and back up to normal. And so though it's become part of their life and they've just continued to keep doing it, and that will cause no harm. But it is something they're going to have to do to some degree for the rest of the life. This is not something you get to set up on the shelf and forget about.
When they go on the program, how long does it take till they actually start feeling a difference?
2 to 3 weeks.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Well, I think we've answered just about every question, and we got a lot of duplicate and triplicate people. Let's give everybody your information, how they can reach you again, and also your website.
My website is neuropathycurable.com, and the answer to that question is no, but it is treatable. My phone number is 480-556-1358. I'm located in Mesa, Arizona. I'm about a half a mile south of the Superstition Freeway, US 60. And I am available by phone. And I don't care whether you're a patient or not. If you just have a question, please feel free to call me. 7 days a week from 7 o'clock in the morning till 8 o'clock at night.
Well, great thing is Dr. Sars has been doing this for a long time. He knows neuropathy, and if anybody can help you, he can. Dr. Sars is with us every month. Dr. Sars, thank you so much. We had so many questions thrown at us. You're always right on. We'll see you next month.
All right. Take care, Steve. Be safe.
Thanks, Dr. Sars. That's Dr. Patrick Sars. Folks, if you or family member might be suffering from neuropathy, give his office a call. He's out of Mesa, Arizona. That's going to do it for us today. We'll be back again with you tomorrow. We'll be back with you at 5 o'clock Eastern time. Thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks for all your questions, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.